You know what they say about alignment.
Welcome to the 9th episode of Goddess Hangs.
Episode number 9.
Woo!
Welcome back.
Welcome. We've been doing this for over 2 months now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, what am I trying to say? I'm getting sentimental here.
Oh.
We're doing really good for only 9 episodes.
I think so.
You guys are so awesome. To the new people, to our OG crew, thank you guys, because we have so much fun doing this.
We really do.
And we have a very fun episode planned. Mm-hmm. We were inspired by a few people asking us how to mostly how to connect with a loved one who has crossed over, because of course that's painful, difficult to go through. You feel really disconnected, even though you know that they're with you always. And along with that, we thought it'd be fun to talk about how to connect with a loved one who has crossed over and how to tap into your psychic powers, get your intuition stronger, because each and every one of you, every single person in this world, on this planet and beyond, has this ability. It's just about tapping into it. And once you start to, you'll realize you've been doing it all along.
Totally. I definitely believe that it's a gift, but I think it's a gift that everyone has, like you just said, and we've just sort of been open to the frequency and the channel of it. Mm-hmm. But that's not to say that you can't be or you won't be. So
and first I want to catch up on what's been going on with you,
let's back up a second.
I was gonna say we're very new to being open. Ultimately, I know now that I'm not new to my gifts, because looking back how we've talked about
completely,
but new to open to them. So it'll be fun to talk to you guys, because it's not like we're 20-year-old veteran psychics. This is all new to us. So but what's been going on with you? Let's catch up. Last week we didn't do a catch up, so
we just dove straight to astrology, which was so much fun. So I am basically done decorating my new place, which we did very quickly.
Love it. I think my place is still not done, and I moved in October.
But I think that's normal. I think I was just
you're excited.
I had never moved, and so I was like, I ain't waiting 6 months to put a rug in the living room. So just dove in head first and did all of that, and did a lot of treasure hunting, finding things on the street, which you guys saw in a previous episode. And just enjoying, we have a gigantic TV, so I've been watching on Disney Plus. There is a show from 2007 called The Dog Whisperer. I don't know if
sponsor us, The Dog Whisperer.
Oh my God, please sponsor us. Discontinued show from 14 years ago. But it's the guy is named Caesar, and he goes around to different homes and he helps them train their dogs, and it's all about energy and the energy you bring in your home, in a room with another being. And I'm just obsessed, because obviously I love animals and animal communication and understanding animals.
Yes, we remember the squirrel episode.
And so it's funny though, because my new neighbors, so I used to feed the squirrels at my old house, and the new place, the neighbors right below us, she was like, by the way, please don't ever feed the squirrels, because we will get rats everywhere. And I said, I would never do that, don't worry.
You're like, yeah, I know.
Let me return that bread I bought. No.
Guess I won't be needing this.
So if you want to watch something on Disney Plus that is all about animals and energy, highly recommend The Dog Whisperer.
This is a great transition, because I have something to say about Disney Plus too.
Great.
So, I didn't have Disney Plus for a long time, but Craig and I signed up for it when we were sick, when we had the virus. And so I don't think this has come up yet, but I am a big fan of Hamilton. We call ourselves Hamil fans.
This is true.
2 years in a row now, and I'm a recent fan. I don't know, I'm nuts about all musicals, and I don't know why it took me so long. scratching around the mic. I don't know why it took me so long to get into it, but once someone was like, listen to this all the way through, and then I was hooked. 2 years in a row, it's been my pretty much only played thing on my Spotify. It's like you've listened to 10,000 hours of Hamilton and 1 hour of, I don't know, whatever else. But anyways, so I have been watching Hamilton because it's on Disney Plus. Very exciting. It's funny, when I was actually starting to like feel a little bit better but still really fatigued, and Craig was like, I knew that you were starting to feel better because you like would watch Hamilton and stand up and like do all the things along with it. I am passionate about it, but I was thinking about it and I got re-inspired. Of course, it's a huge hit because it's so inspiring. His life is insane, you know, for where he came from to where he is now. I don't know if you're all familiar, but he came from nothing, and now he's one of the he was one of our founding fathers.
No, I don't know this. Okay, go on.
How does a bastard? Basically, he was like an orphan, and he was so smart that his community like paid to send him to New York City so he could become somebody. But the message that came through to me when I was thinking about this for the 1 millionth time was how like, and I think this is something I'm working on accepting in my process of manifestation, because any coach, any teacher, we will tell you when you're working on manifesting with intention that a big step is to release fear, release limiting beliefs, all that stuff. And I was reviewing this stuff for the course I'm doing with my girls right now, and I was like, but Hamilton, this is what inspired me. I was like, Hamilton did have fears, and he did have stuff, but the difference between someone like Hamilton and the person that doesn't go for whatever is that his fears ignited him. They didn't hold him back. And it's about like getting what you want is about embracing the fear and going forward anyway. You don't have to wait until you've released the fear. Like, right. That process, I think you get taught the process and then you get stuck on that. Okay, I haven't released all my fears yet. I haven't released all my limiting beliefs yet. No. You want to work on releasing them. Of course, it's great to get rid of them. But Hamilton taught us.
In the greatest city of the world.
Alexander Hamilton. Hamilton taught us that we can use our fears to light our fire.
Yes.
He was so scared of not leaving a legacy, so scared of being nothing like where he came from, so scared of so many things, but he used it to become who he was and accomplish incredible things. And that was my message from Hamilton today.
As you're telling me this, a few things went through my head. The first was, I think everyone needs to know that Sadie listened to the Hamilton soundtrack at work nonstop when it was okay to do so. And then we realized after a year of this that she'd never seen the show. She just fell in love with all the songs. I've never
seen the musical. It was before it came. When it came out on Disney Plus, I was still living with my roommate Claire, and we were both obsessed with it. And like, I was so emotional. Oh. And it was, we both come from dance backgrounds and like performing backgrounds. So I had, and this happens when I read books too, I'm often disappointed by the movie because I have such a vivid, very visual imagination. So I had everything choreographed in my head. I had everything laid out, how people were going to come on and off stage. I was so freaked out because I had never seen the show, and it was exactly how I had imagined it. So one could say that if somebody needs someone to choreograph the next Hamilton like musical, I'm available.
1-800-SADIE. 1-800-SADIE choreographs Hamilton related musicals.
Yeah. No, that was so fun because I used to go to the store. I was the visual merchandiser, so I'd do the display, and I'd go to the store at 6 a.m. and have like 4 hours before, or 3 hours before anyone got there. Did we go at 9 or 10?
Oh, it switched sometimes.
Yeah. But I'd have like 3 or 4 hours by myself, and I would play Hamilton all the way through, and I'd be like moving the crystals around, and I'd be like dancing and singing, and I was like, I hope there's a video recording there because it's like high price point and stuff. I was like, I hope no one ever watches these.
Oh my God, here's the footage. No, kidding.
I wish we could get the
footage. Here's Sadie at work.
It'd be really funny because I'm just like going for it. Very passionate.
as you were telling me all about Hamilton, I realized that I actually had like a couple big things happen this week. And yet when you asked me, I said, well, I've been watching this show about dogs. My girls finished their Elevate Into You program. They had a graduation ceremony.
Happy graduation.
Happy graduation.
Happy graduation. Congratulations. You're now elevated into you.
Yeah. So copyright.
I feel like we could have an improv group together.
Should that be like the
because anytime you start singing, I always finish it, and we always just go right along with what the other one's doing.
You know that skit on SNL where they try to sing the same thing at the same time?
I don't know, but
it's this repeated thing. It's with Kristen Wiig and Fred Armisen, and they're like, no, we rehearsed the songs. Like these aren't songs we're making up right now. These are rehearsed songs. So like, here, we'll do it together. Okay. So just start singing a song, but like, I'll try to do it with you.
Okay. Congratulations, Juliet, sweet babies.
And they do that, and they look at each other, but then they're like, you did it real good. They're like, they try to like keep up with each other. Oh wait, you weren't done. Go on.
Was I gonna sing more?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's okay. I'm done.
Okay.
I have stage fright.
But anyway, so yeah, my girls graduated. So Sadie's in the middle of her amazing transformational program. I do like a boot camp 3-week similar but different kind of program. But so that happened this week. And then the other thing is I co-wrote a song called Whole Lotta Love.
Oh yeah.
And because I'm also a songwriter, and this amazing country artist Willie Jones, it came out on his album this past week, and it's doing exceptionally well, and he has billboards in Times Square and in Nashville, and it's like he's doing great. So many good wishes to Willie, and it was awesome to be part of that. But most importantly, the Dog Whisperer on Disney.
I was like, did I do anything besides think about Hamilton this past week? Anything? Well, I had my time with my group. No, that's it.
I just felt so. It's always like, well, a squirrel came into my room, and meanwhile, I'm like, oh yeah, I put out a song, and I put out another song, and I think that's the fun of like being at this point in this music creative journey, or just a creative journey in general. It's like I've really let go so much.
Yeah.
And I think because I've let go and I'm not focused on it 24/7, now all the stuff is of course starting to happen.
That's how it works. You just have to get in alignment with your shit. Yeah. And then it comes.
You know what they say about alignment. Okay, ready?
Wait, I just saw this one with, it's not what you're saying, but he's just like, don't make me sing. Did you see that?
No.
It's Kristen Wiig in an SNL. I didn't see this skit. I saw the clip of it on TikTok, and they're like, she's like, she wants them to have her sing, but they're like, maybe you should sing. She's like, don't make me sing.
And then like immediately goes into
and then she walks over to the piano, and the guy's like, oh, I guess I could play something, and she goes, oh, don't make me sing.
I love there was a TikTok or something maybe around a year, who knows, this is not important, but it's like the girl who who's like, I'm not, how could I sing, like, don't have and they go like right into it.
Yeah, it's me all the time.
Throughout the episode now we're just gonna have to break into song. When you see my eyes locking with you, you're gonna know. Psychic songs.
We use our ESP, our telepathy. You should really watch this episode because we're throwing looks. That we have to do a screen grab of that.
Great.
Anyways,
so now that I'm thoroughly riled up, let's talk about some deep, heavy stuff.
I took some notes to make sure, we sometimes, as you can see, we get on tangents, we get excited. Mm-hmm. So let's make sure we cover a few things.
Okay.
Well, I thought it would be fun to give a quick recap of, if you haven't listened to episode 1, we do talk about how we have come this far in our journey, like how we met and all that stuff, and how we've recently come into our psychic gifts. But I thought, we'll do a little quick recap because it's kind of cool. Like, the first episode is all about how we've met and everything has been the same the whole way, and we literally had like the same mentor and went through the same thing but separately, much like all the other courses we took at the same time and didn't know. So what, I think I already asked you this, but like, what made you think like, oh, I should go get a mentor to do this?
Oh, and by the way, if you didn't listen to the first episode, this is all going to be a big fun shock to you. They'll be like, they do what?
Oh, yeah.
So
just diving in.
Yeah, diving in. We are psychic and medium developing. Yeah. I got a reading, and as the reading was happening, there was this very strong, clear voice that said, I think you can do this. And so I reached out to Megan, who did my reading, and which I won. I won her reading, and I won Diana's astrology. This all happened because of a win on Instagram.
I love it. The universe was guiding you to it.
And I knew when I entered, I knew I would win, by the way.
Yeah.
I knew 1,000% I was going to win. I just knew it. So
I never win stuff.
No, stop saying that.
I win stuff all the time.
Constantly.
One time, tangent, in 7th grade. We had all these raffles we always celebrated Mardi Gras because it's right before Ash Wednesday, Catholic school. We had Catholic school. Mardi Gras was the most fun day ever. They threw a carnival, and every classroom would make a basket of stuff.
Oh, like at the pancake breakfast at my school.
Okay. Yeah. So you could put a raffle in. And I remember this so distinctly because I didn't want to spend my money on raffle tickets. I wanted to spend it on the little tickets for the game. It was all a fundraiser, but your mom sends you with like $10, whatever. And so I only bought like 5 raffle tickets, and I really wanted my classrooms because my mom didn't buy us any candy because she was a health nut, and it was a candy basket. It was so much fucking candy. It was so much. And I put 1 ticket in, and I was gonna put all 5, and I remember distinctly I was like, no need, it's mine. And that was the popular basket because it was all candy. And I fucking won.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And that's when I knew. No, just kidding. But that's my one story of winning something.
I won something finally in 5th grade after 7 years at that school.
Yeah, I think mine was like 5th grade too.
I put 1 ticket in the basket and I won.
There you go.
More parallels.
So crazy.
So pancake breakfasts, Mardi Gras giveaways. Join us for the Goddess Hangs Mardi Gras pancake breakfast.
I think we missed Mardi Gras. No, wait. Did we? Has it been Fat Tuesday yet?
I don't know any of those things. I'm a Jew.
Oh, yeah.
You're asking the wrong person.
Because Fat Tuesday is right before Ash Wednesday, and then that's the start of Lent, and for 40 days you give up something before Easter.
Can you ever trick it? Like, I'm going to give up corn. And like, you don't care about corn to begin with.
I think I always tried to do something like that. My mom was like, no. So I usually gave up chocolate or TV.
I'm going to give up roller coasters.
And then I don't think this was real, but in my house we had Sundays. It didn't count.
So I don't think that's how it works. Your parents are so nice.
Jesus went to I think it's because he went into the desert for like 40 days and 40 nights.
But
I think that's
Sundays.
why we do it. But he came back on Sundays to watch TV and have a bite of chocolate.
Oh, that's nice. That's so nice.
I think my grandma actually made that up, and I always thought it was a rule, and other Catholics were like, no.
It's like that famous song. A little bit of chocolate is okay on Sundays. I can't.
Everyone listening to the episodes and be like, what the fuck is this?
Unsubscribes.
I thought I was learning how to be psychic, and they're just
We're getting
singing.
to that. So anyways, I had a reading. I got the tippity tap that said, you can do this. I used to go to psychics as a teenager. I spent far more money than I should have. In hindsight, I think I was just fascinated by, oh my God, this is wild. You have a poster of Richard Pryor. His wife was on the episode of The Dog Whisperer that I watched last night.
That's
because
Craig.
she rescues
That's his favorite
dogs.
comedian.
Oh, okay. Back to me. Wow, Richard.
Hey, Richard.
Thank you for popping up in my life twice in the past 24 hours. So, you know what? No, I'm kidding. That's not a song. So, anyways, yeah, I basically, long story short, I was always very pulled towards it. I always liked card readings and palm reading, and I sort of did all those things naturally, and then retired it for a little while, or went into hibernation for a little while, and then it really came out last year. And I did my first couple of readings in the mentorship and was blown away at just how it happened. And now it's just like sharpening the muscle. Is that the way you say it?
I say like I have to exercise the muscle.
Yeah, exercise sharpening.
I know if I don't do a reading for a while, I get nervous, and then I do it and it's totally fine. So maybe you don't have to exercise the muscle. I don't know, but I feel like, you want to.
What about you?
Well, you did it, and then I was like, I wonder if I could do that. And the end.
And I said, do it.
Then, I was so interested in you doing it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy, because I had known you for about a year, right? Yeah. And, you never talked about, like, I think I might be psychic or something. No,
if anything, when psychics came into the store, I was like, get away from me.
Yeah, you didn't like that.
No.
And they would look at me, and I was like, great, I'm going to die, because they would look at me and nothing. They would tell everyone in the store something and not me. I think my mom,
there was a protection going on there.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for it or something. But anyways, so you did it, and then I was like, that's interesting. I wish I could do that, or like, I wonder if I could do that. And then Megan at Medium, Megan Hart, she's amazing. She posted that so you did a one-on-one mentorship.
Yes.
And then she posted that she was doing like a beta run of a group mentorship program. So I was like, oh my gosh. And I remember she posted it when I was at the beach with Craig, and I turned to him and I was like, is it crazy that I want to do a class to like be psychic? And he goes, no, of course you're psychic, babe. And I was like, oh.
He's like, I knew.
He's just so, sweet and supportive. And so I did it, and like immediately I was mind blown and could read people. And like all the practice ones, like one lady was like freaked out because I was so spot on, like specific about stuff. And I was like, I don't understand how this works, but this is pretty cool. And been doing it ever since. So we wanted to kind of tell you guys about some of the most helpful things, because it's not so much about like how, because you're probably already doing it. I think it's really about just trusting, letting go of ego, things like that. So I made some notes. So letting go of ego / trusting. Should we talk about that a little bit?
Yes.
So how did that look for you? Like when you first started the mentorship versus like kind of leaving it, that letting go process, did it like click with you really quickly?
So my biggest thing to work on, maybe we should I'm just going to back up a teeny tiny bit.
Yeah.
So for instance, let's say you are seeking, what should I do next? Or should I do this or this? We'll talk more about that. And you close your eyes and you get very quiet. And the voice that comes in that's really kind of calm and assertive and knowing says, yes, go for it. Or there's something better for you, or no, right? The trusting is so important, because what happens is a lot of people will hear that, will get a message, and when we go into psychic and medium readings, there's specific messages like, this was an age, this was a name, and they'll try to either talk themselves out of it, doubt it, rationalize it. They're afraid to say it. They're afraid to believe it. whereas trusting and knowing is just sharing it. And what I was going to say is my hang up was my ego would try to interpret it like, oh,
yeah, totally.
I'm seeing a piano, so maybe this person was a musician, and they could be like, no, but they bought me a piano. So you just, so the piano is what's significant. So it's sort of like being able to distinguish, being able to listen to yourself and have faith that your inner guidance is real. Your inner guidance is there, and it wants what's best for you, and it wants to share the truth.
Yes. Yeah. So your ego is the voice in your head. The ego is not a bad guy, but I like to almost think of it like the devil on your shoulder and the angel on your shoulder, but in a different sense than maybe in the movies or cartoons or whatever. Like the devil being like your ego that holds you back, and the angel being your intuition, your like higher self that's trying to help you forward. So your ego voice is one of like over rationalizing, like extreme logic, fear, scarcity based, like for example, if you're like, oh, I wish I could quit my job and start a business, extreme example, your ego is going to say, absolutely not,
that's not possible,
no, because it comes from a place of scarcity of like, right now how we are, we're comfortable and safe and secure, and it's okay that we're unhappy because we're surviving. Like ego is very survival based and is pretty indifferent to like your like mental well-being, I would say, more or less.
And the ego's very judgy. There's a lot of like judgment in it, and the intuition part of us isn't judgy. So it's important to sort of know the difference between the two, because when you're going to attempt to open yourself up to more psychic information, more medium information, you want to be able to distinguish those voices in your head.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Yeah.
The conversation going on.
So trusting yourself, believing in yourself. Before you sit down, don't say, oh, there's no way I'll connect with anything or anyone, because then you've just shut yourself off. And recognizing when that ego voice comes in, and then just, letting it fade back away.
Thank you for trying to protect me.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you. Next.
I feel like we forgot to say this because we're so used to talking about it, but psychic is like tuning into like the frequencies of like an alive person, or you could say like your own higher self. I think of it like as my higher self talking, or like my spirit guides having a conversation with your spirit guides if I'm doing like,
I like that,
a reading. A medium reading would be talking to someone who has crossed over, a spirit that has passed on. So that's the difference that we're talking about.
Just to clarify.
So the ego, we're very ego driven in our world today, and the ego is very outdated. Like if you think about how fast our like human lives have, and even in our single lifetime, think about all the technology that's changed, the way we live that's changed, and then think of the past few hundred years. That's extreme.
Yes.
And so our ego has not had time to evolve with like our outer world. So your ego is very like, I think we've talked about this before, but almost like caveman based.
It hasn't caught up yet. It wants to make sure that you are following the tribe.
Yeah.
Because
comes from a time of community.
Oh yeah, because if you just separate yourself in any way, well, that's it. You might not eat. You might not have a place to sleep that night. A tiger might eat you. So maybe tribe is the wrong word, but just the group. And so we don't need to operate from that place anymore. Unless we're just like telling time, like, oh, it's 2 p.m. time to go do this. Like the ego can be helpful in like keeping us organized.
Yeah, it wants us to survive. So that's like super cool, and we're grateful for that.
Yes,
but it's outdated. And so we have to learn how to distinguish that. And so it's like scarcity mindset, fear, anything like limiting is your ego, and then your intuition. And it's not like the ego always says no and the intuition always says yes, But the intuitive voice, when it says no, it's not going to be for like...
It's not going to feel frantic.
Yeah.
Because I have gotten strong feelings that say, get in your car right now.
Exactly.
Or...
That's your intuition, because logically your ego wouldn't go, you know, it's not a rational based thing for me to be like, quick, run to your car and get in and lock the door. There's no, you know, when you don't see anyone or hear anything, your intuition is the one saying, go run in your car and lock the door.
Yeah. So, and when you were talking about connecting with a loved one that has passed on, they want to connect to you from your point of intuition, from your highest self. And because most of us are in our egos most of the time, that's why we're like, I'm not getting any messages, I'm not getting any signals, because that's just, it's like if you're, you know, looking at a radio, it's the wrong frequency.
Exactly.
So that's why we're talking about ego versus intuition and highest self. What was the next thing, like raising the vibration?
Yeah, and I think that's a good segue, because you talked about tuning yourself to the right frequency. So this is how we kind of prepare ourselves for an actual reading or settling down to listen to our higher selves. Is it all starts with raising your vibration, and raising your vibration should be an everyday goal. That's why we talked about our daily rituals and how we like to start our day and move throughout the day, because the higher your frequency, the more in alignment you are, the more you're going to attract those higher vibrational things. But when it comes to raising your vibration for this reason, how do you do it?
So I like to light a candle. It's not, sometimes I don't, but I prefer to light a candle because I feel like, you know, in a flame there is energy, so I'm providing some energy. I also like to, there's a specific YouTube song that we can link in the description. It's a specific third eye opener, and it's like, you know, and it's, for some reason I've listened to all of them, but this one just opens me right up. Yeah. And so I have the music playing, I have the candle going. This is specifically for me, more for the medium stuff. The psychic work, I don't have to, in my experience so far, I don't have to be as prepared for. I feel like I'm a little better on the spot with that, but it's good either way. And then I close my eyes, I really like tune into my own body, and I say, you know, God, angels, universe, energies of the highest good. I am open to receive loving divine messages. I'm open to connect with this individual. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for trusting me with this. And there's not an exact right or wrong way to say it. That's why I'm not concerned with, you know, that. You can just say it, what feels right.
You just say you're open,
moment.
And I think the protection part is really important too.
Yes. And then I start to feel like an energy that sort of lifts up from like my stomach all the way up past my neck. And when I start feeling it buzz, and it's very subtle, around my forehead, and then I start to feel lifted, that's when I make my mind completely blank, and I wait to see what comes, and then just like that, it starts flooding in like thoughts. So that is how I raise my vibration in a very intentional way. What do you do?
That's so interesting. We've never really talked about our process this way before.
Oh, we haven't.
No. And we've talked about like, what does it feel like when you connect, but not the lead up to connecting. And I also work down, but I think about like chakra by chakra. Okay. I light them up until my crown, I open my third eye, open my crown, and I envision like the information flooding down through my crown.
I love that.
But yeah, same thing. I light a candle and I say, you know, thank you, Spirit, for being here with me today. And I always get like a chill right when I light the candle. It's so cool. It's like, they're like, okay, we're doing this right now. I ask for Archangel Michael to protect me and be my gatekeeper so that I'm only speaking to who I intend to speak to, which is any loved ones of the individual I'm connecting with who have their highest good in mind and their spirit team. And I don't want to connect with any other energies. I think it's really important to state that. or if I'm just, connecting with myself, I think it's a little less important. You're just kind of rising up. But yeah, I do the prayer, kind of the same thing. Meditate. I do my root chakra, and I imagine my roots growing down into the ground, so I'm really grounded. And then work my way up until I can kind of float up out of my body and join my spirit guides. And then I stand with them, and we have a chat with the other spirit guides.
So Sadie's system involves a whole community of...
Yeah, I'm very visual.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So there's different ways you can tap in and connect, but the core of both of them is that we declare that we're ready to do it. We have some type of offering, like music or a candle. We get really quiet within ourselves. And we tune into our bodies and we feel that energy rising. And it's funny because I don't tend to picture it as chakras, but I do feel something that rises up. Yeah. And then when this all lifts, I'm pointing to my head when that all starts buzzing.
And when the messages start flowing in, this is where your ego tries to, and this is what we kind of mean by exercising the muscle, because your ego tries to come in. So the goal is to kind of shut your ego off while you're doing this, because you don't need your ego right now. You're safe in your little, ritual corner or whatever, your home. But the ego is going to come in. So if you get a message, you're going to go, well, that doesn't mean anything.
That's not grandma.
Yeah.
It might be. It probably is.
For example, really random stuff comes through. Last episode to Irene, I was like, I see a saltine cracker. I never eat saltines. I don't know why I would see a saltine cracker, but she was like, oh, me and my dad always used to eat saltines when we watched cartoons, and I had just seen the cartoon thing. So that's where your ego starts telling you, you're just seeing a cracker. That's too random. Don't say that. And if you're connecting with somebody else, it always means something to them. And if you're seeing stuff for yourself that seems random, I always write it down. I write everything down.
Oh, that's a hot tip.
Yeah. Because I've said it before, but I see a lot of plant symbolism and animal symbolism. I will have a full conversation in my my clairvoyance that is, I just see plants and animals in a specific order, and I have no idea, but I'm like, okay, I'm writing it down. I'm trying to, and then I look up everything afterwards, and now I'm starting to know because I have themes coming through and stuff, but it's literally a whole ass conversation of
it's symbols.
this in symbols, and it's really cool. Whereas when I do a reading for someone else, the stuff means stuff for them, and I'll only receive symbols that I understand for the most part because they're trying to speak to me while I'm speaking to somebody. But it's really cool. But that would happen in the past when I would try to meditate, but I just was my ego brain was oh, you just can't concentrate. All this stuff is floating randomly through your head, and it was actually messages. Yeah. So all of that's why when my clients are I can't meditate, I can't shut my thoughts off, I'm those thoughts are running through your head for a reason, and so write it all down, and your brain's either telling you or maybe it is your ego, but then you can kind of take a step back and try and shut your ego off and work through that. So that's something we talk about. But sometimes it's if you really can't get a thought out of your head, you need to deal with that. Your brain and your subconscious, your higher self is trying to tell you something, girl or boy. Can
I tell you an experience I've been having lately with the medium readings?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's been happening lately, is I will see the person sitting on a chair and sort of on a stage, and there's a spotlight on the person.
Oh yeah.
A one-man show kind of thing.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Same. I'll sort of see the person, and I'll see their posture or how they would sit, how they present themselves. And then they start telling me things.
Wow.
That's been a new thing lately. It's
cool.
They walk in and sit down.
They're I'm here for my reading.
Yes, because yeah.
Wow.
And I had one that I wanted to tell you this too, where this sweet girl wanted a reading of her uncle, and he was coming in and he was telling me things. He's telling me, I'm just gonna say the couple of things because it won't give her away. I was like, he's telling me about dominoes and he's bringing up the MAR name, like a male MAR, and she could not put it together. And she's like, I don't know, like, I don't even think, and he was so persistent.
Yeah.
Like shaking his head like she's not getting it. And I said, I really want you to think about what that could be.
Yeah.
Because I'm so certain it's something.
Yeah.
And it's exciting that even in like 6 months of doing this, there's like a clarity and a confidence now. So keep practicing. It takes a little bit of time, and I'm excited to see what like 5 years from now will be for us.
Yeah.
And 10 and 15 and whatever years. But after the reading was over and I delivered it, she's like, could it be, Emma? I'm like, no, it's an MAR male. I'm telling you. And and then after the reading was over, she goes, oh my God, my dad, Martin, just put out a book today about dominoes. I was like, how did you not put that together?
It's really common. It's really common.
Yeah.
That's why I always tell people before reading, I'm like, okay, just so you know, the way things come through to me, and I'm seeing them a certain way. Like I think I've said before with I saw an alive monkey with a hat on, and it was the thing in her life was a stuffed animal toy monkey, right? So I'm like, when I say things to you, it might not be like literal. I don't know, like, I'm just kind of trying. It's like a staticky TV almost. Like I'm getting the picture, but it's not completely clear to me. So there's like this amnesia that I experienced it too when I've gotten readings. I'm like, I don't know, that doesn't make sense, and then I'm like,
yes, it's very common. It was so, she and I were cracking up because she's like, he didn't play dominoes. I don't know. And I was like, it's so clear. I just need you to think about it a little bit longer.
Yeah. Because you think of, like when you hear dominoes, you're like, okay, that's a game. I don't know anybody that plays that game. That's kind of how your brain works.
Yeah.
You get one-sided, and also there's this pressure to like remember all this stuff and connect it or whatever when you're getting a reading. Because I remember that happened when it came to me within a few minutes that when I had my first reading with Megan, she was like, there's an S name and it sounds a little, she's like, I don't know if it sounds French or it's something, and then I was like, I don't know, nobody comes to mind, and it was like the person I had dated the longest in my life, like thus far, that was like there, who I was dating while my mom was passing away, who we were talking about like while my mom was passing away. And I was like, why wouldn't I think of that? Because his name is from like a different country and stuff. I'm like, why? Why wouldn't I remember that? But I was like, no idea.
So we share this because if a message comes through for you during your meditations, during raising your vibration, and you're like, I don't know what this means about the 3 doves, just write it down.
Write everything down.
Just write it down.
Have a meditation journal.
Because we've had so many moments of like, oh, that's what that meant.
Yeah.
Same with your dreams too. If you have kind of a specific dream that like sticks with you and haunts you a little bit, write it down.
Totally. Yeah, I was just chatting with one of the girls in my group about her having interesting dreams come up. And I'm like, ooh, this is exciting. But which I wrote down meditation, which I think you guys have kind of gotten the picture, but basically connecting to somebody or your higher self, it happens in a meditative type state.
Yeah.
So we always meditate, and then I start kind of writing stuff down, and I'll close my eyes again. So you come a little bit out of it, but you write, you can take notes and you can kind of go back and forth in it, but my theme of my life is meditation is the most amazing thing on earth. And this is all done basically in meditation. So meditate, trust what's coming through, write it down so that you can, have a conversation with your ego if you're trying to make it all like rational and logic and why that doesn't mean something or whatever. And
be alone, I would say.
Yeah.
I can't do these things if there's other people in the room. Maybe if Sadie was in the room or somebody who would like be willing to raise their vibration with me. But if my boyfriend's in the kitchen, like I just go into another room.
Yeah, I know. I like doing my readings in the living room where I have all my crystals and stuff. So I'm like, sorry, Craig, you're locked in the bedroom for like 20 minutes.
So just practice. Just practice these like meditative moments, practice distinguishing your intuition from your ego. These are all great exercises. What are some ways we can strengthen our intuition?
Great question. Sadie? I do this in my course and work with my clients with this. So some exercises that I always share is, well, first of all, what we talked about is getting to know the voices. Your ego has a personality, your intuition has a personality. Get to know them, maybe give them characters so you can
I thought you were going to say carrots. I was like, that's interesting.
Feed your ego carrots so that he leaves you alone. I don't know why my ego's a boy and my intuition's a girl. Intuition is a feminine energy.
Intuition does generally feel very feminine. Yes.
So my manly ego, I guess. No, what I was gonna say is it's a conversation going back and forth in your head all day. And so one way that I like to get to know it is to start being more intentional about asking your intuition questions. So our intuition, lightly taps us on the shoulder here and there, and we don't really, say like, oh, thanks, intuition, even though it's doing a lot of work for us. And the same thing with your ego. It's working for you all day, every day. And we don't really go, oh, thanks a lot, ego, for holding me back. It's just like whatever's going on in there is going on in there. So starting to be more aware of it. And a way to do that is to start asking yourself simple questions throughout your day. So one example I always use is, and now I know this, maybe you use this, I always say your route to work, but a lot of people are working from home. But your route to the grocery store, let's say. You're going to get in your car and you're going to drive to the grocery store, and you probably always take one way. Sometimes you take another way. There's a few options. So ask your intuition, should I go this way or that way? And something's going to pop into your head, and don't go beyond that. Just don't rationalize it. Don't get logical. Don't say, well, I chose that time because it's this time of day, blah, 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 blah. Now, follow your intuition and see what happens. It's going to be very subtle. Sometimes you might not even notice a difference, but perhaps you did miss more traffic or an accident, or getting in an accident yourself one way. One thing you'll notice is that your life is probably going to start going slightly smoother as time goes on, and you start asking yourself more of these questions and following your intuition. So I always say, like, take note, like have like a note in your phone, or like voice record yourself or something. That's like your intuition log. So, should I go to this coffee shop or that coffee shop? Follow your intuition. Well, I'm going to go to the one I don't normally go to. Oh, there was a cute barista and he winked at me. I don't know, whatever it is. Like, just take notes of how your day feels as you go through. And that's one way. The other one, and you said you do this, is play red light, green light with yourself.
Yeah.
So, kind of, again, like sort of go into a meditative state. You can write down a list of questions I think is helpful. And the first 5 to 10 questions are questions that you know the answer to. You're not questioning this. Am I a boy? Is my hair blonde?
We could play this live and
see if it works.
Play with me.
So what you're gonna do is red light is no, green light is yes, yellow light is maybe. Picture it, in front of you exactly like it is. And that mix of I know the answer questions is a mix of yes and no. Start asking yourself those questions, let the lights green up, and then get yourself into a state where it's like very automatic, like the lights are going on their own. And then start asking yourself the questions that you think you don't know the answer to, but your intuition or your higher self does. So sometimes maybe yellow light might still come up, but that's still good. That's still like your intuition, like answering you. And so I think this is a really powerful way too, to kind of like, it's almost like another divination tool, like a pendulum or cards or something. Like close your eyes, see the light, and if you're getting like a lot of like, I don't know, maybes, you probably just need to get more specific with your questions. Like make sure you're phrasing them like yes or no questions. And like one example is like, okay, maybe you're asking like, should I date this person? You met a new person. Things are going pretty good. You're like, I don't know though. And the yellow light comes on. Well, how can you get more specific? Maybe look at your priorities in a relationship. So you start asking like, is this person trustworthy? And then the red light goes off and you're like, oh shit,
Ooh.
My intuition picked up that this is not a trustworthy person.
Dating tips.
Or maybe the light's green. You're like, okay, that's really important to me. So that's good. So go get more specific about the questions you're asking. But that's another exercise that I like to use to strengthen the muscle.
I love that. My mom and I have always talked like this, where we'll say like, oh, I've got a big red light for that. Or like, I feel the green light on that. Before we even sort of knew what it meant.
Yeah, it's really your intuition.
So, okay, I'm just going to do a quick round on Sadie.
Okay. Ask me a few questions I know.
Okay. Do you have a great podcast?
Green light.
Okay. Do you love crystals?
Green light.
Are you proud of your course?
Green light.
Okay. Do you think you're going to make more money this year than you've ever made?
Green light.
Okay. Do you...
I'm seeing a volleyball right now.
Volleyball light. That wasn't an option.
I'm not letting my ego put it down. Juliet, what's up with the volleyball? Anybody out there? Volleyball?
No, it's not for me.
I see a volleyball.
Okay, we'll do two more.
Okay.
Are you going to go back and work for retail?
Red light.
Are we going to give away a reading to folks who leave a review? We'll put them all in a drawing.
Green light.
Woo! You heard it here first. I wasn't planning on introducing that way, but I couldn't think of another question. We'll talk more about that in a second.
Talk more about that later.
So yeah, tap into your freaking intuition, practice it. And also, the most successful people make the quickest decisions. And you can practice this on a small scale. When you go to places like Subway or Chipotle and are like me and get a little overwhelmed by the amount of choices.
Use your intuition.
Just be like, you know what? I'm just going to decide. I always make the right decision. You know, even if it's not the best, maybe I avoided food poisoning. You just never know.
You know what's so funny about that is sitting down at a restaurant, I have a terrible time deciding because I love food. It all looks amazing. And I always say, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to wait till the waitress comes and see what comes out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And then something comes out of my mouth. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's a big thing because as a kid, one of my biggest struggles was I was so painfully indecisive. Like, and it wasn't made easier because I was asked a lot of like, do you want to drive with mom or dad to this thing? And it was like, I would have like a breakdown over a 10-minute car ride and like making the wrong choice. And I just don't believe I make wrong choices anymore.
Yeah.
So that's another way to just practice the intuition and just make a quick decision and go with it.
Yeah. And then notice how your day goes when you listen to your intuition.
Yeah. So that's sort of our little broken down process of how to
tap in
with your
tap in. We should do a reels with that song.
Oh, I didn't know what that was. I got excited. I was like, are we singing again?
tap in. Hear to hear first.
Tap in.
Oh. No, it's a song, isn't it? It's like,
I'm sure it
something,
is.
Tap. We can make a reels about how to do all this. We'll do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's not a song. I thought she was singing a song earlier. I was like, you were singing that song, right? And she was like, no.
So are you singing Clean Up, the Barney song? Is it? No. I was singing Cleo was an itty bitty fish. I don't know the rest of the song.
I don't know that song.
It's from Pinocchio, I think.
Oh.
I think it's
Pinocchio kind of freaked me out.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a fave.
I had that one on VHS, but it wasn't a repeat watch very
stayed
often.
At the bottom of the box, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And also, I loved Fox and the Hound, but it made me too sad. I have that one on VHS too.
Can there just be a Disney movie where just the animal's mother lives and they just go on a walk and there's a picnic and then they go to bed at night? Like a Little Bear. Did you grow up watching Little Bear? It was on Nick Jr. Nothing bad ever happened.
You know, yeah. Every movie does something to the mom.
I know.
You really start to notice that when something happens to your mom. I remember for like a year I would go to the movie theaters and be like, why does every fucking movie have this? I was like, true trigger warning, please.
Every Hallmark movie.
Yep. It's almost always the mom too. It's not the dad.
Every princess movie.
Mm-hmm.
You're just destined to be royalty, I guess.
I am a princess. So
and I'm just meant to live a boring life. And no. Yeah, it's such a weird thing.
Yeah, because it pulls at your heartstrings, you know? It does.
Moms.
Good TV. So let's talk a little bit more about when you want to actually connect with one of your loved ones. And I think leading into that, we should talk about the clairs and how we connect to our different clairs. Clairs meaning clear, like clairvoyance means clear seeing.
It's like the invisible senses.
Yeah. So it's exactly the same as your regular senses. There's clairvoyance, there's clairaudience, which is to hear. Clairgustance is to taste.
Ooh.
Clairalience is to smell.
Beautiful.
Clairsentience is to know.
To feel.
To feel. What's the one that's to know?
Claircognizance.
Claircognizance. Yeah. I always mix those two up. So those are your clairs, and there is an exercise that you can do to strengthen your clairs, which will then help you specifically in connecting to a loved one. Mm-hmm. Do you want to explain the orange exercise?
Yes, although in my case, we did it with a rose.
Oh, but orange you can taste too.
Oh, maybe we did that. Okay.
But we could do both. It's the same process.
Oh, I see. You want to go through all of them.
Yeah.
Here, why don't you lead it since you know what you're going to say.
So start out, like close your eyes.
Okay, I'm going to do it along with you guys.
Okay. And hold your orange, a big juicy orange in your hand. Notice the weight of it, how it feels. Take your thumb and like rub it across the skin. You can feel like the pores, the kind of like rough and smoothness of the orange. So you can feel the weight in your hand. You can feel the texture of the orange. Now I want you to put it up to your nose and take a whiff. Juliet just like knocked her thing. How does that orange smell? Smells good. Now put it back in front of you, and I want you to start looking at it with really specific detail. You can see the bright color of the orange. It's orange. Wow. You can see the little pores in the orange. You see the little, like, I always think it looks like a little belly button on the end. Notice all the little details of your orange, the size of it. Now you're going to start peeling your orange. So dig your fingernails into the end and start peeling it off. You feel some of the juiciness. The smell is getting stronger. You can smell it. You're peeling it off. You can feel some of that white stuff on it. You're getting the little stringies off. So you see those. You're pulling them off.
You just flick those anyway.
Yeah, we don't like those. And now pull apart a piece of your orange. Ooh, this smells even stronger now. It's a little sticky in your hand. Now put that piece of orange in your mouth and taste it. Some ASMR for you. Ooh, it's sweet. Maybe a little sour. You can feel the juice in your mouth. Swallow it. Yum. And now you just used, I forgot to do the hearing. You could hear, when you're doing this on your own, I messed up, but you can hear like the peel coming off. Listen for that like sound of like the juiciness. You can hear yourself peeling. You can hear yourself chewing. So you can do that with like anything. You can do that with an orange, with a rose. You can smell the rose, feel the petals, how soft they are, things like that. But that's a way to strengthen your clairs. And anything to add to that?
This is a fun pastime that you can do is when you go places now, and I don't know how many places we're going.
When you go places next year?
When you go places sometime. look around and try to pay attention to everything you see. This is good for clairvoyance, which is clear seeing. So I'm looking around this podcast studio and I'm seeing a globe. I'm just seeing everything. I'm noticing the plant. And then
Details.
What you can do is you can close your eyes or wait till later in the day and look back, and what can you see? And then, like as if it was on an iPhone, zoom in. What was that little girl wearing? What color were the feathers on that bird? See if you can zoom into everything. And can you, if you're looking at like one thing, can you turn it around in your mind? Sometimes I just do that if I'm bored. I like picture things and zoom in on them, and that helps strengthen the clear seeing. And to strengthen the clear hearing, you can listen to a song and only listen to the guitar or only listen to the drum. You can listen to the song and separate the parts, or you can, for me, I like to sometimes close my eyes and see if I can hear somebody speak, or like remember a scene in a movie, or like the sound of it, or remember a song and what all those parts sounded like. And then for clear cognizance, clear knowing, that's where all those intuitive exercises come in. And then Sadie did a perfect example of taste and smell and touch. So those are some ways you can strengthen it. And when it comes to your loved one, when you sort of get in the habit of doing these exercises and being open and trusting and tapping into your intuition, you can sit down with a photo of your loved one and you can light a candle, and if you want to bring some crystals or some flower petals, like whatever makes you happy or reminds you of them, and you can just sit and you can raise your vibration, meditate, close your eyes, ask for protection, state that you're open to it. And you can ask a question and you can just wait for the answer and know it will come. And that's kind of the beautiful part. And, we truly believe that our loved ones are always with us. And even if you don't hear a sentence like, "Hi, darling," if you don't hear that, you still may feel... It's not
usually like that,
You still may feel a level of love and connection that you've been seeking.
Yeah, so I would say if you're looking to connect with a loved one who has crossed over, basically do like the orange exercise. Like sit down, picture what they look like in your mind's eye. What do they smell like? What does their voice sound like? Try and recall as many details about them using every sense, and that'll really pull them into like your physical reality. And I remember the first time, this was at the beginning of my mentorship with Megan, the first time I pulled my mom into like my like conscious awareness, basically. I had just done the orange exercise because it was part of her homework, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it with my mom. And I was just kind of expecting to like exercise my clairs. I didn't really. And then all of a sudden, so I got so hot. And this is a thing too when I connect, not psychically, but mediumship. I get really hot.
Oh.
And I think it's because you're connecting with higher frequencies than like humans. They're vibrating much higher than us. So I got so hot. And then I was picturing her there. I got really hot all of a sudden, and she looked surprised. And then I was like, "Oh my God." And she was like, "You can see me?" Like this was all like almost telepathic. And then we both started laughing hysterically. So I was alone. Craig was like gone, and I was alone at our place. And I was laughing hysterically, but bawling, crying, but like happy tears, because I lost my mom about 5.5 years ago. And this was the first time I had felt connected because I had a reading with Megan, but that was only a few months prior. And I see butterflies. That's a sign from her. But this was like the first time where I was like, oh my God, my mom's in front of me right now, even though I knew she's always with me. So we were laughing hysterically. And then she was telling me, she was like, oh, like what I miss the most is going to get ice cream at this place. We would always get ice cream when we'd go camping up north. And then we started laughing hysterically again. And she was trying to like talk to me, but we just kept both laughing because we were like, oh my God. And like, she was like, I'm always with you, but this is different. Like it was so crazy. So I'm curious if any of you try this and have a really interesting experience, to let us know.
Oh yeah, please write to us, DM us, or leave a comment, or email us, goddesshangs@gmail.com.
Yes, we'd love to just hear from you, or if you're want us to share your story, we would think that would be cool to share your story if you're open to that. But yeah, just set the intent. They're always with you, and they hear everything you're saying to them. It's just hard for them to speak directly in the way we're used to, so they're going to communicate. If you set an intention like I did and meditated like I did, it's possible for you to literally talk to them. But oftentimes it's more like how Irene said last episode, her dad would send her religious symbols. That's a little joke between them. Mm-hmm. My mom sends me butterflies, and I also get chills a lot when I'm making decisions, and if she likes something, I get a chill and I know it's her. So if you're struggling to find your sign from someone that you really want a sign from, just tell them. Say out loud, or even in your mind, but I think out loud, say out loud, I want you to send me this, and they will. It's so simple. It's so available to all of us, and it's, I don't know, it's just something that I think we think is so out of reach and so out there, but it's not. Our loved ones are always, I don't know, around us. I remember something that stood out to me when I had a reading with Megan was, and this was before I did all this, but she said my mom was saying, it's so cool how I can be everywhere at once. Meaning she's with my brother and with my dad and with my other brother and with her siblings and with my grandparents and with me all at the same time. And I just thought that was, and it's she's a little, I imagine her little sparkles hanging out here. So I totally sympathize and understand the feeling of feeling so disconnected after you lose somebody, and wanting so desperately for them to come to you, to send you a sign, to be in your dreams, something. I used to have a lot of dreams where I would see my mom, but she was in front of me walking away, and I was trying to tap on her shoulder and I couldn't reach. And so I understand the feeling completely, and it's really hard and it really sucks, and I sympathize with you so much. So I just hope this helps. And we both do readings, so you can always reach out to us. We would love to help anyone that's looking to connect with a loved one. We do this because it's so special to get to do that.
Yeah.
And obviously our mentor, Megan, that we've said her name a million times, is an amazing medium as well. Megan. So amazing. So yeah, I would just say because I get questions a lot of how to get the sign or whatever, just ask for it. That's it. Say, mom or grandpa or brother or uncle, could you send me, I want to see a ladybug tomorrow, or I want to see a ladybug this week. Can you send me a ladybug so I know you're with me, or whatever? Just pick something. And they'll figure out a way to send it to you. It might not be a literal ladybug. It might be you see it in an advertisement on a billboard. You might see a cartoon of it.
Point.
Yeah.
To let go, to know your sign's going to come, and be open to however it may appear.
Yeah.
Don't be so well, that's a ladybug on a flag, so it doesn't count.
Yeah. That's the way it works. It just comes to you how it does. Do you have anything to add to that?
I just want you all to know that we are totally here for you in any way, whether it's through a reading. Just if you guys just listen to our show, if you ever send us a DM, we're totally here for you. We understand how big the loss of a loved one can be. We've experienced that, really intensely in our own lives, and it's what sort of led us to this practice.
yeah, definitely.
So I know we make a lot of jokes and we have a lot of fun here, but we have really big hearts, and we care a lot about you guys, and we hope that everything we shared today allows you the opportunity to connect with your loved ones who are always, always, always with you. And we would love to gift a reading to an individual who leaves us a review. Is it on
Apple Podcasts?
Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
So Sadie will explain.
So we just want to build up reviews. It helps our podcast grow. It helps us reach people that, you know, are beyond the scope of like our Instagrams and whatever. I don't know how else we reach out. It's really been through mostly social media. So we want to encourage all of you. We want to incentivize you to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. So for the month of February, we are going to collect all the reviews, and then maybe the first episode of March, whatever that ends up being, we can announce a winner.
Yes, and I think we'll give more details. I don't know if you need to screenshot it and then email it to us.
Screenshot it and DM us on Instagram or email us
goddesshangs@gmail.com. Either way works, because sometimes it takes a minute for the review to appear and we want you to be counted towards the giveaway. So everyone who leaves a review and sends us a screenshot of their review on Apple Podcasts is going to be entered in the dual psychic reading.
Yeah, it's going to be a reading from both of us together.
Which is not only
never been done
special,
before,
but fun.
Yeah, it'll be really fun. I'll bring my cards, and how I like to do my readings is first connecting with no cards, and then after you get some information come through, then I'm like, okay, let's clarify with the cards, and it's fun to do it that way. So it'll be kind of a see how it goes, anything goes reading. It'll be really fun,
and you'll get double the reading.
Double the reading.
Double the fun. It's a statement of the great minutes. Double income. Remember that song? It was like double. Anyways,
I mumbled the whole thing. Excited.
As we're sitting here, I'm gonna hop on our Insta story in a couple minutes, because I mean, you guys will see this in a couple weeks, but I'm getting a really strong message for someone who I think follows us. So
cool.
We'll start sharing those. So make sure you're following us on Instagram at Goddess Hangs, because there might be a message for you.
Yeah. We are also starting a new thing on Goddess Hangs. Maybe we can talk about it right now.
Tell me.
1-800-PSYCHIC-BABES.
1-800-PSYCHIC-BABES hotline. Don't actually call that number. It will not lead to anything. But that is our new spiel that we've got going on.
So we'll be posting it on our Instagram, or maybe by the time this is out, we've already posted it on the Instagram. But all you have to do, there will be a link in our bio. I'll also put the link in our show notes for a Google form. We're doing it this way because you can stay anonymous if you would like. You can ask us for a question or to connect to somebody. We're not guaranteeing that we'll get to everyone, but we might choose yours, and we're going to answer it on the podcast. So we're going to like channel little mini readings for the questions that we get through this this hotline. So it'll be a Google form. Put a nickname in there if you don't want us to say your name, so you know it's for you, and we'll be doing like one a week.
Yeah, and it's free, you guys. We just want to connect with you. Yeah. So there's no catch.
No catch. There is a catch for the other one. Leave us a review, which I think is a pretty dope deal. So we'll continue to do giveaways as we grow and reach milestones and stuff like that. So make sure you're sharing with a friend, because the more followers we get, the more giveaways there are. Subscribe, like, share, follow at Goddess Hangs on Instagram. I am Sadie Olson.
I'm at Juliet.Piper.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.